All right, I know everybody's excited about budgeting, so let's get into this today. So I am hoping and praying that as this is recorded and gets put on our YouTube channel, that this may be one that most people will come back and pay attention to a little bit. It does tie in. We're in month 10 now of our Zoom conversations. And if you were to look from January till today, these do touch each other. And so several of the conversations I've had or we've had before in the past months, it did tie into savings, expenses, retirement, getting ready for things, planning in general. And one tool that people need to probably pay a little bit more attention to is expense tracking. So the word budgeting has a negative connotation. I'm pretty sure that if I walked out on the street and said, "Hey, I want to have a conversation with everybody around me about a budget," I will be the only one standing there within 2 or 3 minutes. It is not something people enjoy talking about because they think it's a no. When I talked to my wife about this and have for years until I finally convinced her that we're not talking about no's, we're talking about yeses, it was something that we were never able to do very well in our household because what she heard when I said budget, which is a term I try not to use, actually, I'm going to use this a lot in this presentation, but she heard the word budget, and what she heard was, all right, so you're going to look at what we're spending our money on. And you're going to tell me we're spending too much on certain things and we can't do things. We can't, it's no, it's, I won't, that to her was not something attractive, appealing, or interesting at all. That's what she heard, but that's what most people heard when they hear when the word budget comes out. That's not what we want to talk about. So as you leave this presentation today, or you watch the video later, and you or hopefully share this with other people, that they get a feeling of, okay, this is not a system to tell me I cannot do something. This is a system to tell me I can do what I would like and need to do, and that's yes. So that's what I want you to take away. And a lot of this is common sense stuff. So we're gonna say some things, and you're gonna go like, "Oh, of course I know that." Knowing something and actually doing it are two sometimes different things. So we want to spend some time just to make sure we hit some topics that again are maybe known in the universe of budgeting, if you will. All right, so introduction. We're going to go through a few things, and we probably won't keep this long, but again, the biggest thing I want people to understand, this is a way to say yes. I can't say this enough. We've even changed how we're presenting this to clients. So instead of when I talk about expense tracking or budgeting with clients, now we're calling it a spending plan. And what does that mean? And we'll go through a little bit of that. You'll see it. But a spending plan is the yes. It's what do you need to do to say yes to things? What do you need to do to spend money? I believe completely, as a financial planner, been one for 28 years. I believe completely that while we're here on this sphere, that we need to enjoy it. We need to do the things to enjoy while we're here. We're working to have money to enjoy life. We're working to save money so that when we stop working, that we can enjoy life. So I don't want people to feel like they live in their day to day in a world of I can't do things. We want to change that. So we're going to change that focus a little bit. And when we started, and again, I tested this on my wife. So if it works for her, I hope she's not watching this. If it works for her, then it should work for most. All right. That's my benchmark. So it's about how do we get to yes. All right. There's got to be some things to look at. So we want to talk about control. So on this slide, it says control, stress reduction, goal achievement. The thing about understanding where you are with your expenses, what your money's going towards, actually paying a little attention to that on an ongoing basis, is taking control of your finances. The most fearful thing that when I talk to people and have over all these years, when they feel stressed about money going out to pay for bills or groceries or other things, it's because they don't feel like they have control of it. The money's controlling them, they're not controlling their money. What a budgeting tool, tracking tool spending plan tool is supposed to do is give you that control back where you know what your money's going towards. It's not, I'm not trying to get to the old world of, all right, you can only spend $100 a month on this, $50 a month on that. So some people need that. Don't get me wrong. There are plenty of people out there who really need to pay more attention to this because they're really overspending on things they probably shouldn't, or they're living paycheck to paycheck and they don't know where their money's going. They probably do need more parameters or tighter parameters on their money out, their cash flow out than some others do. But this is a way, the system is a way that you understand what you're spending money so you have control over it. It doesn't have control of you. Once you have control, it reduces your stress. So what I've seen and we see when we're stressed, we tend to make poor financial decisions. We may money may be a way to make us try to make us happy. We're stressed, we're worried, we're concerned, so we're going to spend money to make us happy, and we just go down this circle of, oh God, I shouldn't have spent that. I couldn't afford to spend that. Why did I do that? I don't have control. Now I'm stressed, and I can't achieve my goals. And some people don't know what those are. So what we're getting to is where if we understand where our money is going, we're going to be able to fix a lot of things. We're going to be able to take control. We're going to have awareness of that. We're going to reduce our stress, and we're going to truly be able to set goals for ourselves that we can actually achieve that make us happy. Okay. So let's talk about where your money goes. So expense management is that it's where is your money getting, it's leaving you somehow. Okay. Whether it's automatic bill pay, whether it's maybe you maybe have a checking account, your mortgage or your car payments automatically swept from there. And some people like that out of mind, out of sight. I'm not thinking about it. I don't have to worry about it. Well, you kind of do because it's happening to you. If you're a business owner, so we own this business, our business, and we look at what goes out of the business all the time. What and we talk about that. What's our are we and I'm not saying we're being cheap either. What are we spending on marketing? What are we spending on salaries? What are we spending on supplies for the office? Those are examples of things that a business owner pays attention to so we can make sure that we can pay our employees better, that we can pay bonuses, that we can charge our clients appropriately, that we can do the things we want to do to be happy. An individual household should actually treat their household like a business. You've probably, if you've ever worked with me, you've heard me say that for sure. If you ever worked with Mark, you've heard him say that. I know. We want to treat our households like a business, just as a way to, but and not necessarily as every day we walking in and we got to do calculations, but just to understand where money is going in our lives. So what does that entail? Well, oops, sorry, get back a slide. It may be you need to look at your categorization. So, like I mentioned, in salaries for business or marketing budget and things like that. So, what are you categorizing in things that are going? And you do not have to be so detailed with this. You don't have to have some people love this. Now I'm a little OCD, admittedly. I kind of like the old Excel spreadsheets with the categories and those types of things. If I put that in front of Heather, oh my gosh, see, that wouldn't work. So us doing it together, like, wait, and I learned that a long time ago. I'm gonna say I was told that a long time ago. Learning's being told. So but I know it works now. So I don't have to fine detail it down to here's our streaming service expenses. It can just be total entertainment for the house. And we may only do it once a year. But it's whatever works for you and your family to get a better, it doesn't have to be perfect, but a better understanding of what your money is going towards. Some people need to use tools to do that. Some people can do it on a piece of paper. Some people can do it out of memory in a conversation. Some people may have to have really a sophisticated piece of software that helps track for them. We'll go over a couple of tools in a minute as well. You do what fits you as a person in a household that makes you happy. But you need to do something, and something's better than nothing. When I meet new clients or am introduced to new clients, I would promise you that 75%, at least, it could be more than that, do not understand what their expenses are. So one of the questions I'm going to ask you as a client, well, first may be, what do you have currently? What are what's your net worth statement? What's your bank's personal financial statement? What's your balance sheet look like? What do you own? What do you owe? I may also want to know, or I'm definitely going to want to know, what income do you make? But I'm also going to know what you want to spend, what you're spending your money on. And so what are your expenses? And most people that 75% or more, they don't know. They'll guess. I'm not really sure. Let's just call it 50,000 a year, 75,000 a year, 100 a year. And they use round numbers like that because they're not really sure. We don't need it to the penny, but we need to know something better than that. Because in order for us to really understand what your income is doing to pay those expenses and what your retirement's going to look like to pay those expenses, we got to have a little bit more accuracy than that. So and when you get to expense categorization, we're going to talk about, this goes back to the Zoom we did back with retirement readiness. It's going to discuss which of these categories are going to continue with you post retirement. So there's some things you do now that you may not spend money on when you retire. There's some things when you retire, you may spend money on then, you're not spending money on now. So we really got to understand those categories to make sure that you can live a happier, stress-free life and have control. Again, have control over your money to assure that you can spend on the things you want to. Again, a spending plan that we can spend and do the things we want to do as often as we need to make us, well, happy. So there may be some goal setting that has to come into play. What do you really want to achieve? What do you really want to do? Now you hear about people talk about bucket list all the time. I say this quite often. A bucket list, if you have a bucket list and it's designed to, in 10 years from now, I'm gonna dig in the bucket and we'll start doing this. To me, a bucket list is like, here are the things we want to enjoy in life. We want to spend more time with the grandkids. We want to travel. And we're travelers. So Heather and I travel as much as we can. And we like going to good places. So we're going to do that. And our goals are to do that now. I mean, we're not waiting on a bucket list until we're 65, 70, 75. We may not be physically able to do the things that we want to do. So our goal setting and what she loves with this, when we set our spending plan together or our budget, is that I'm factoring in being able to achieve those things that she would like to do first. How do we make sure we go to X in 2026, do this in 2027 first, and then we analyze the stuff that could hinder that maybe, or we're not going to fly. We won't do this anyway. We're not going to fly first class. We'll fly business class or coach. So those are the kind of things. But she understands then it's easily achievable. It's not as expensive as I thought because now I know, or she knows, what our expenses are with everything else that could take away our income. But she gets to do the fun stuff too. So setting goals for yourself, if you do that first, it really, really helps with a budget plan. And that goes into things like defining your priorities. It's getting into, goal driven, where if you set this up properly, especially setting it up into short, medium, and long-term goals, these are the things that we want to do. These are the things that we want to achieve over the next 1 year, 3 year, 5 years, and long-term can be a little longer than that, 15 or 20 years. If you set those up and you understand that I have to, I don't want to be stressed trying to get there. To reduce or eliminate that stress is to really know not just your money coming in. You kind of know that because you get a W-2. I mean, you know what you're earning. You know what you're earning. It's not from 10 or 20 sources. It's from one job or a couple, maybe two jobs. Expenses are different because they're coming from all over the place and they're hitting you over and over and over again in the back of the head. So you got to know what's taking away that income also. If you know what's coming in and you know what's going out, it's going to be a lot easier then to focus on making sure you're achieving the things that you want to build your plan. And there's different ways to do that. Different people have different formulas. I've said this on every Zoom I've ever done or any personal conversation one-on-one with anybody I've ever done. Nothing is cookie cutter. There's no formula that works for every single person. You've got to come up with something that's going to work for you. You don't have to work with us, people like us, as a coach necessarily to do that. It's not bad. Some people love that, but you don't have to. You just got to come up with something that's going to help you build your plan to get to that last on that financial roadmap. So to go into the spending plan, this is where we start for families and where I start in my own household. I start with, what do you love to spend money on, instead of the other way. So the old budget's like, what do you have to spend money on? Okay, we'll do that last. What do you love to spend money on? Chris, I love to spend money on travel. I'll give you or I love to spend money on my kids. I love to spend money on giving to charity. It could be a lot of different things. All right, next, let's come up with a number there per year. Okay, let's try to figure out what that may cost you a year to do what you love to do. What do you love to save for? Now, some people don't love to save; they feel it's a necessity, but some people do. What do you love to save? I love to save my retirement plan. I love to save in my HSA. I love to save for my kids' education. I love to save for an emergency fund. Or those are the, now I know what I want to spend. I'm happy about that. That excites me, spending money on something that I want to do. Then I know that I'm putting money away for things for later. Maybe it's covering a risk, or maybe it's helping somebody in the family, or maybe it's helping a charity. So I love to save for these things. Now is the part that we don't like. It's like, okay, I have to do stuff. I have to spend money on my insurance. I have to spend money on my groceries. I have to spend money on my utilities. If we break them out into love first, have to later, and then work back up, it has worked so well for families to be able to say, I don't mind itemizing, categorizing those expenses, because they're trying to get me a point I can do the things that I love to do. So we identify the loves first. So if you ever want to talk about with your spouse, or you're just with yourself, about how do I get more excited about this? Because I do get excited about this because I like to spend money on things I like to spend money on, that make us happy. I got to know the have tos. So, but I start with the loves first, and it's put us in a better place as a couple because we do that, and we also want to reward ourselves. I think the biggest thing people forget is how to reward yourself when you do these types of things. So, just some ideas that we've done, or I coach clients on. If they ever get a raise or a bonus at work, spend it. I mean, you will hear planners all the time say, oh, if you get a bonus, put in your 401k plan. Oh, if you get a bonus, pay off an extra car payment or a house payment. Or if you get some people may want to do that. That's not exciting. Some people think, now, I will say this, a lot of people reducing their liabilities is exciting. Don't get me wrong. The last house payment is the best house payment. But use money that's just come to you to do something with it. Go take a vacation with that. Find bargains. So when you find bargains out there, the difference in I changed my service from X to Y, or I've changed my insurance from this company to that company, and that PNC insurance is a good bit 20% cheaper than the one I had. Use that 20% to reward yourself that one time for doing something like that. That just makes us feel good. It's an emotional thing that gets us excited to really pay attention to, again, expenses and what we're doing. Investment performance. For those of you who have investment accounts you can touch, not your 401ks, those are tied up for retirement. But if you have outside investment accounts that you put money into, or somebody like us is managing for you, and we have a good quarter, we have a good half year, we have a good year, and it's better than what we thought it was going to be, use the money. So my favorite phone calls are, and it's happened a good bit this year, it happened a lot last year with some clients that I knew wanted to do. We've done these projects, we've done the spending plan with them, and they would like to take a trip to Italy. But they know, well, I mean, maybe a couple of years down the road before we actually have saved enough money to do it. Then all of a sudden, the investment account, because nothing special necessarily we did, the markets just did better than we thought. It performed better than we thought it would. There's extra money sitting there. My favorite phone calls, calling them, going, you know what, you said you want to take a vacation in 28 to go to Italy because it's going to cost you X. Your account just outperformed. If you pulled out X dollars now and took that trip in 26 instead of 28, we still are on track to meet your overall goals based on everything else. Use the money. That is the best reward for them, and me personally, satisfaction. but you're rewarding yourself for things you do. You're not able to do that way if you're not paying attention to your budget. Okay. So couples like that understand their spending, understand their goals, understand what their expenses are, right? So when we make that call to people who aren't paying attention, they go like, I don't really know. I'm not really sure. I'm not really, I don't really know where I am. Let's just leave it in there, reinvest it, which is still great, but they're not having fun. So they're not enjoying the things they want to enjoy. So, and if you have something set up that's going to put you in a place that you're again happier, you'll pay more attention to these types of things, and it'd be more satisfactory to you as you age. All right, tools that help. So quickly on a couple of these things, and I think these are when I go back into the no brainers, the common sense things. You already know this. You can use your bank. Every bank has a system in place that probably keeps track of categories. When you have multiple financial institutions, that gets real confusing. I will say that I've helped plenty of clients consolidate the financial institutions to one or two, just because you've got three or four or five banks that are giving you statements, or your portals, your app is telling you all these different things, and try to consolidate together with spending this there, this there, this there, just gets real confusing. There are some apps that start consolidating those. We actually have a financial planning program here that does consolidate all this together to make it a little easier. Personally, I love American Express. I'm not getting paid to tell you this. I spend almost everything through my Amex card just because it does a phenomenal job of tracking, and I can download everything off of it to other programs if I need to. Another app, and I've mentioned this in another Zoom in a Zoom in the past, is called You Need a Budget. It's YNAB. It's a paid app, but it's a great budgeting tool. It's I don't know, because it's hokey. It's not for those of you who are just like super spreadsheet concentrated. It's probably going to feel a little hokey, but it's very easy to use. It's not that expensive. It's protected really well. It's another security issue I obviously look at, but it's a way to help you track in your not only your expenses but some spending goals that you would like to have out there for yourself. And then the lastly, hire a coach. So if you need somebody, this is really hard for you. Maybe you're like Heather and I. One of you is very good at this or wants to do this. The other one is kind of like, I hate it. It just sounds like a no to me. I can't do stuff because I'm budgeting. You may want to bring in somebody to help you actually do some of that, and as an accountability partner to really get you to the right place. And I think that goes to sticking to a plan. As you're looking through your budget, you need to pay attention to it every once in a while, pretty often, and having an accountability partner. It may be each other as a couple. It may be another family member. It could be a couple of friends. I know two couples who are neighbors, and they do this with each other. So they're accountability partner on spending plans. And I did the same, not just presentation, but something very similar to them to coach them. But anyway, they're doing it with each other as accountability partners, which is working really well. So just need to pay attention, make sure that you're tracking it correctly, make sure you're hitting those goals that you want to, and rewarding yourself. Again, I think that's one of the biggest things in the world. And then mistakes, the biggest pitfall in the world to me, and this is something I think everybody has seen before, just know who you are. I mean, I can tell you, I mean, and I'm an open book, so maybe too much. I know what I like. I tell people what I like. I know who I am. I mean, we love to travel. We love good food. I mean, not 5-star restaurants with a little plate of French food. We just love you give me a good steak and I'm great. We love athletics, and we'll spend money on tickets and things to go different places for concerts and things like that. So we know who we are. We know what we want to reward ourselves with, spend money on. We're not trying to keep up with the Joneses, if you know that phrase. I'm sure everybody does. We know who we are. We know we're not going to just buy. We don't want expensive clothes. We don't want a 5,000 square foot house with two people living in it. People who do that, awesome, great for everybody. It's just not us. I'd rather spend my money on other things. I'm not going to buy a boat. I mean, I've taught 3 clients how to buy boats this year because I know they're not going to use a boat. So know who you are. If you do that, you can avoid a lot of this stuff on here. And you can also help you do the things like prepare for the future, because you're putting money into things you're supposed to. If you have good emergency funds, if you have insurance protection, if you have diversification amongst your investments, and you have stability in finances, and you're paying attention to your spending plan or your expenses, you're just a much happier couple. and you're going to achieve more than you ever thought you could, and it's going to give you that financial freedom right there. So that's what budgeting is really designed to do. Is a path. I think it says it. Yeah, it does. It's a path to get you control your money. It's a path to make sure that you're doing the things that you want to do as a family. It's a path to make sure you've got everything else in your life under that's been addressed, like the insurance, the savings for retirement, those types of things. It's a much easier way to do this, and I will tell every client or prospective client I talk to, you should never ever, and I've said this on other Zooms, walk away from a job until you understand your expenses that are going to carry into retirement years. You've got to spend the last 5 years of working really honing in on your plan. You've got to. Whether you do it yourself, whether you use an online program, whether you hire a coach like us, you've really got to spend those 5 years understanding your plan before you take that risk and step away from employment that's a guaranteed salary for you. And expenses are going to be a big part of that. So you will have an expense conversation with us as financial planners that we're going to ask you to drill into this and do this for us. Do this for you. It's not for us. That we can make sure that you're going to be in good shape. So if you have any questions at all, email us, call us. Anybody on our team can connect with you, can explain these types of things to you if you need coaching on those. If you want to share this when this video comes out, the Zoom comes out on YouTube, to anybody and your friends and family rewatch it, please do so. I think it's very important. We can help each other as just individuals by sharing information. I do these hopefully to everybody takes away one little thing at most, and they can benefit from it. So with that, I'm going to leave you. We should have this up and posted on YouTube in the next 2 or 3 or 4 days. And I hope you have a good rest of your day, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. And let us know if we can do anything for you. Thank you so much. Bye.